Government investigations sparked by a new theory about Bigfoot. Are they from space?
Maybe the Air Force found things that they didn't want us to know.
A Monsters and Mysteries exclusive. Broadcast for the first time. A diver trapped underwater by America's own Loch Ness Monster.
It threw me around and I was engulfed. This thing was powerful. I was scared to death.
In the Louisiana swamps, attacked by a man-wolf monster.
When this thing started emerging from the grass, my heart just stopped beating. And then I just froze.
In Pennsylvania, Presque Isle State Park is a 7-mile-long spur jutting into Lake Erie. In the 1960s, an encounter at this remote recreation setting remains one of the most intriguing in the annals of American monsters.
After all these years investigating hundreds of Bigfoot sightings, why by now don't we have more physical evidence or in fact a body?
For more than a century across North America, people have insisted they've seen the giant hairy biped known as Bigfoot. Many believe this creature is a cryptid, a biological manimal that's evaded positive identification. There's rarely ever any proof.
I mean, no matter how rare an animal is, we have skeletal remains. But with Bigfoot, it just hasn't happened.
In the early 1970s, a cluster of unusual sightings painted a much different picture. A new idea about the origins of Bigfoot emerged.
People were reporting UFO sightings and Bigfoot creatures at the same time and place.
Strange beams of light in the sky, hulking hairy beasts on the ground.
Some of those cases began to suggest that there may be more to the Bigfoot phenomena than a flesh and blood explanation.
The new evidence might shed light on Bigfoot's frequent disappearing act.
People have shot at them with various types of weapons, and in no case did anybody bring one down, and it disappears in a flash of light.
Events at Presque Isle, Pennsylvania would entirely change the notion of Bigfoot.
I was just a kid when all the UFO Bigfoot sightings from Presque Isle were in the news. Everybody in town was talking about it. It was on the television, radio news, in the newspaper. It was everywhere.
During the 1960s, the space race was captivating the attention of the American public. In the summer of 1966, the astronauts of Gemini 10 splashed down successfully off of Cape Canaveral. Around this same time, on the shores of Lake Erie, 4 friends were about to encounter an entirely different breed of space traveler. On July 30th, 1966, Gerald LaBelle and 3 friends, Betty, Anita, and Doug, headed out to Presque Isle State Park to escape the summer heat.
We decided to get the girls and go up there and have a picnic at Presque Isle. We went swimming for an hour or 2.
As the sun was setting, they decided it was time to head home.
1, 2, 3. We're spinning, come on.
Doug tried to start the car and pull off the sand. When he went to take off, the wheels just spun and the car just dropped right straight down onto the sand.
Kidding? All right, come on, you guys ready? Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, push. Push. Okay. We're stuck.
So, having no way out, I hitched the ride into Erie to find a tow truck.
Back as soon as I can.
Hurry!
That group of people coming down to Presque Isle for a picnic that day had no idea that their lives were about to change as they entered into an area of some very strange phenomena.
With Gerald off to get help, Betty, Anita, and Doug were left to wait. As darkness fell, the night sky seemed remarkably clear.
My dad's gonna kill me.
While they were sitting, waiting for the tow truck to come,
Hey, what's that?
they noticed a falling star over the lake, and it was getting brighter and brighter. They noticed that it was an octagonal shape that was glowing purple and blue with a hollow center. And then they saw it as it came closer, it was more of a mushroom shape. It landed behind the tree line without a thud, but there was some sort of vibration that emitted.
Oh, God! What is going on?
Is that you?
What's wrong with your car?
It wasn't me.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
In the moments it took the group to fathom what they saw, a park officer arrived.
Stay in the car. I'll be right back.
Policemen come down because evidently they had seen something or heard something, you know. Doug, he told them what he had seen. Doug and the officers went down the beach area towards what they thought was the flying saucer.
Now the young women were by themselves, wondering what was happening down at the beach. A tree branch breaking got their attention. Then they saw a light.
Spotlights came out from the trees, searching the area.
And what they saw next was unbelievable.
And saw something coming from the woods, a large, dark humanoid, 7 foot tall. As it got closer, it looked to be like a Bigfoot type creature.
Cases where UFO sighting occurs in one area, short time later Bigfoot shows up. This type of phenomenon has been reported, but it's not that well known.
They didn't know what it was and what his intentions were. They didn't know what to do except scream. Betty was honking the horn to get somebody's attention to come back to the car, you know. Then he came down to the car. He hit the car roof and put a couple dents in it.
By the time that the police officers and their friend came back, there was nothing there except the evidence, large scratches on the car.
The creature and the craft were nowhere to be found. Gerald LaBelle had left his friends hours earlier to find a tow truck in town.
When I got back to the park, it was about midnight. There was all these police cars around there. They did have shotguns and rifles and automatic weapons. So when I seen all the weapons there, I thought, my God, what is that war going on here, you know?
In the same evening, there was 8 other individuals who saw the UFO coming. They all saw a giant silvery glowing object that traveled from the northwest across the city of Erie and over to the peninsula, finally to landing at Beach 6.
Gerald and his friends were questioned overnight at the ranger station and sent home early the next morning.
They wouldn't let us go down to the beach. They brought the car up to the administration building. That's where we took off from.
While the group headed home to sleep, the investigation at the beach was just beginning.
The scene on the beach on the next morning was chaotic.
You had the Air Force officially investigating the case, the police departments, the National Investigation Committee on Aerial Phenomena. They photographed the area. They document any type of physical evidence. They used radiation meters to try to check and see if there was any unusual radiation levels. They did a very, very detailed study.
Locals quickly got wind of something strange happening at the shore.
My mother was talking about it the morning after the incident happened. One of the neighbors had told her. We took a drive out there to just see if we could see anything. Strangest thing I saw was a footprint. One single solitary footprint that looked similar to a bare human footprint. I've never seen a footprint like that before.
How would appear to be a solid creature seen at close range. There's physical footprints in the area, and they just suddenly stop and disappear where there should have been more footprints. Just doesn't make any sense.
The hairy ape man, called Bigfoot, is rumored to lurk in forests across America. Thousands of sightings, zero hard evidence. Some say the creature is a human hybrid. Others believe it's a relic ape. Now, an entirely different theory has emerged.
There's more to the Bigfoot phenomenon than we understand. There seems to be a non-physical aspect to some of these phenomena we're dealing with.
Could Bigfoot's origins be extraterrestrial in nature? Clues in the historical record may point to the possibility. Native American stories record the arrival of the crazy bears, huge hairy manimals who supposedly descended to Earth inside a small moon, which deposited them and then rose back into the sky. By the late 1960s, the outer space origins of Bigfoot was starting to receive serious discussion, spurred in part by an incident in 1966 at Presque Isle, Pennsylvania. That encounter became part of a federal investigation, Project Blue Book, kept under wraps for many years.
Project Blue Book, the official UFO investigation, was taking a serious look during that time of the UFO phenomena. And they did some very, very detailed investigation of some of these cases.
For the Air Force to be involved the way they were, it's obvious they took the whole case very seriously.
Declassified over 40 years ago, the Air Force's UFO investigation, Project Blue Book, now provides insight into the mysterious monster.
Project Blue Book looked into 12,618 UFO incidents, of which 701 remain unexplained, and the Presque Isle case is one of those in the unexplained category. They'd go out, interview witnesses, gather information, then forward all that information on sightings to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which was where Project Blue Book was headquartered. They roll out satellites, balloons, lights on aircraft, meteors. They eliminate all the normal possibilities. And then when you get down to it, the data indicates there was something there that they didn't have a good explanation for. What that unknown category is still remains open for a lot of speculation.
After the initial military response, shrouded with so much secrecy, Gerald LaBelle went back to the beach to investigate for himself.
Months later, I went back to look at the beach and found that the tree that involved in the sighting was gone. It wasn't broken, it wasn't laying on the ground, it wasn't rotted out, it was gone. The whole thing was gone, roots and all, the whole tree, broken apart in the slump. Maybe the Air Force found things that they didn't want us to know.
Gerald and his friends may never find an explanation for their strange encounter.
Going into that evening, we just thought we was going to have fun. We had no idea what we was going to get into. Betty, she didn't want to talk about it. Doug passed away about 3 years after this happened. And then Anita, she just dropped out of sight. Really, it is something that I ain't gonna forget.
A UFO in the sky and a Bigfoot on the ground. Could it have been just a coincidence? A few years after the encounter on Presque Isle, a large hairy beast with alleged UFO origins made another mysterious appearance in the Keystone State. 200 miles south of Presque Isle, The tiny community of Ohiopyle, Pennsylvania, sits in the mountains, surrounded by wilderness. Some believe there are certain geographical areas that provide a gateway for these entities to enter and depart from our physical world.
Like other paranormal hotspots around the world, you just get a feeling that there's something here. There's something out of the ordinary.
On February 6, 1974, a resident, Mrs. Ham, was enjoying a peaceful evening. Accustomed to living out in nature, she was prepared to fend off wild creatures. She never expected she would come face to face with something extraterrestrial.
Mrs. Ham lives deep in the woods up in Fayette County, Pennsylvania. And it's around 10 o'clock or so that evening. And she's sitting in her cabin home when she begins to hear some commotion on her porch. So Mrs. Ham figures this pack of wild dogs have come back to the area, so she decides to load one chamber of her 16-gauge shotgun to scare the dogs away. There's no dogs there, which she expected, but just a few feet away in front of her, she's startled by this creature with eyes like coals of fire.
Mrs. Ham could not believe her eyes. It was obvious that she was dealing with something that was not from this world. The elusive Bigfoot. In the late 1960s, its sudden appearance in rural Pennsylvania was terrorizing residents. Adding to the mystery, the encounters occurred simultaneously with UFO sightings, leading some to believe that Bigfoot is actually an alien astronaut. Late one July night in 1966, in the remote Pennsylvania woods, a woman identified only as Mrs. Ham heard strange noises coming from her front porch and grabbed her shotgun to investigate.
When Mrs. Ham saw the creature, her first thought was, this thing is going to lunge on me. Mrs. Ham fired directly into the creature. There's this bright flash of light, and the creature disappears right in front of her.
Hearing the shots, her son-in-law ran outside to help.
Her son-in-law, Tom, lived nearby. He grabbed his .22 revolver and began to run towards the house.
He found himself surrounded by several menacing monsters.
He drops his flashlight, starts firing randomly. He wanted to get evidence and bring one of these things down, but they weren't nowhere to be seen at that point. And at about the same time, he's noticing this strange light hovering over the woods that they described as like a big Christmas ornament with different colors flashing over the area. He just ran, he turned around and ran. Tom had his wife call the police because they wanted to get some help up to the scene. And by the time the police got there, the object had disappeared just a short time before.
Leaving as quickly as they had appeared, the craft and the creatures were gone. Sightings like these have raised questions about Bigfoot's true address, planet Earth or the stars.
We don't have the answers, and we're hoping that someday more about the Bigfoot and UFO community will get together and look at this data more thoroughly and open-mindedly and try to find out what's really going on out there.
I don't think they're from this Earth. They have to be from outer space, and they sure are smarter than us, because we've never caught one.
"60 miles downstream from St. Paul, Minnesota, the Mississippi River widens into a lake, some 40 square miles in size. It's long been a summer destination, and the place where the sport of water skiing was invented. Each year, tourists migrate to the lake for their family-friendly vacations.
Lake Pepin is one of the prettiest spots in North America. Just last year, it was voted the most scenic drive in North America. I always only half-kiddingly tell people there's only two types of people in the world, those that live on Lake Pepin and those that wish they did.
And then there are those that have seen a mega monster suddenly emerge from the lake.
Many people who claim that they want to see it, that they actively go out and look for these creatures, when they actually see it are terrified by their sighting, that it's spooky, it's creepy, that it's not a cute thing to see a sea serpent.
In the winter, the cold, dark water in Lake Pepin spreads out like a sheet. On just such a day in 2004, the surface was suddenly breached. The photographer was on a boat some 50 yards away.
What you're seeing in the photograph is more of a humped type creature with the long neck, much like you'd think of the plesiosaur or a Loch Ness monster type. And it seems to show it in the water, nothing else around it, a clear photograph that seems to point to something lurking out there that shouldn't be there.
People ask me all the time, what do I think Pepe is or what is out there?
Larry Nielsen is the captain of a vintage paddle wheel boat working on Lake Pepin.
I don't like to consider myself an expert, but I do know this. I've spent the better part of the last 40, 50 years on the lake. I've seen a lot, seen different creatures on the lake. So I think I probably know as much about Lake Pepin as anybody else.
Recently, he saw something that even he can't explain. Nielsen was in his truck headed to the docks.
I was driving down Highway 61, which runs alongside Lake Pepin. Waves were 6 inches to 12 inches high, and just a very nice, pretty day out on the lake. Saw what I thought was a big log at first glance. It was about 15 or 20 feet long, and about half of it was out of the water. All of a sudden, it occurred to me that that log was floating upstream against the current. Well, logs can't float upstream, so it must be something else.
He'd been hearing about it all his life. Was Larry finally seeing the Lake Pepin Monster? For generations, residents living alongside Lake Pepin have been talking about the aquatic creature they call Pepe. Cute name, dangerous reputation.
I've heard stories passed down that they've seen huge fish, eyes wide apart, and guys who came out of there scared to death, never to return.
The earliest newspaper report that we've been able to dig up is from 1867, and it talks about some raftsmen from St. Louis area that were up here when they encountered something big that they could not identify. And they were all pretty shaken up by it. And it made all the newspapers down in the St. Louis area.
Surprise appearances by this creature continue to this day. Just ask local boat captain Larry Nielsen.
I was driving down Highway 61. I looked over and I saw what I thought was a big log at first glance. And it was just breaking the surface. Something very, very large was making a very large wave.
Nielsen swung his truck around as soon as he could. He had a camera in the truck.
It wasn't there anymore, so whatever it was that I saw there slipped below the waves and disappeared. So it's kind of an intriguing thing to see something that large and not know what it is. There's just too many people that have seen things. It goes back in history, it goes back with the Native Americans. I'm just very curious and very intrigued on what's living in the lake.
Wildlife experts suggest it may be a giant sturgeon or a non-native species of eel. Others wonder if it's some sort of prehistoric plesiosaur that survived all these years.
One of the theories is that there are these pockets, these deep cave-like structures in the lake that might have these creatures as lair or a hiding spot. They can remain undetected because it is such a large area that we're talking about. 23 miles long, 2 miles wide, 100 feet deep, so there's a lot of area for something to lurk and for something to hide over the years.
Was this the creature that Shelley Shimbano saw in 1983 when she was water skiing with her brother, Adam? Adam recalls his sister's close call when they took the boat out one afternoon on Lake Pepin.
It was a Sunday afternoon. Most of the tourists had gone home for the weekend. And so my sister and I had decided to go out and enjoy the summer afternoon and go water skiing.
Shelley was a high school athlete and an avid water skier.
We were just going back and forth, making our circles around the area up there and having a good time. And I remember that Shelley had fallen off of her water skis.
When she went down in the water, Adam could tell something was wrong.
She let out a yell.
Help me!
She had fear in her eyes, and I said, "What's wrong? What is the matter?"
Something in here! Get me out!
Shelley said that she thought the creature was anywhere from 20 to 30 feet in length.
I saw it. It was long, and it rubbed up against me.
And she said it had big scales on it.
It's gotta be a big fish, a carp or a sturgeon.
No, it was long, like the size of this boat.
And she was adamant that it was not a fish.
Get me out of here!
And her fear was real.
Now!
She was scared because of her encounter. She has not been in the lake since then. Swimming, boating, anything.
Despite dozens of stories like the Shimbanos, video evidence has remained slim. Until now. Broadcast for the first time, new video of a diver's recent encounter with Pepe.
Godspeed, Corey.
As it all unfolded.
When I first got into the water, I had no idea that I was gonna actually have within a foot encounter of Pepe. I was scared to death.
Corey or Pepe? Something big.
Lake Pepin, Minnesota. Is this the residence of America's Loch Ness Monster? They call it Pepe, but the friendly nickname masked a dark history of terrifying encounters.
We do have a long tradition of people seeing a monster in Lake Pepin. All the way back to the Native Americans, anytime anyone went missing from the tribe, they blamed it on the monster.
Local videographer Heidi Fryer had long wondered about the legends of Pepe. She decided to go searching for it and asked Corey Brial, an experienced scuba diver, to come along with the team.
He had to really think about it because of it being the Mississippi. I know he was just kind of scared of the murky water, but he did agree.
Now, broadcast for the first time, video of a dramatic first-hand encounter, a diver's brush with the beast. With video rolling, the expedition was underway. Clear skies, calm waters, not a hint of anything out of the ordinary.
We had just got in the boat. We were maneuvering from the launch, getting into the main channel, and we got into about 65, 70 feet of water. And we're talking like within 5 minutes from the time we left the landing, Me and my friend Mike witnessed on this screen something that we've never seen before ever.
I've never seen anything that big on a graph.
The guys were seeing something that was 6 feet wide, up to 35 feet long, they said, and it appeared to be moving on its own.
I've fished all my life, and this was in a size of a bait cluster, but it had a monster look to it.
I've never, in 10, 15 years of using this graph, I've never seen anything close to that.
And at that point, we wanted to send Corey down to dive and try to get a look at whatever we had seen on the graph. Godspeed, Corey.
I was scared to death. You know, thoughts are going through my head, whether I'm going to get attacked, eaten. You know, the worst thoughts a person could think of, going into a dark water with a monster.
Despite his fear, Corey decided he would go investigate. It could be a once-in-a-lifetime chance to see a real monster and to prove that Pepin existed.
It took me probably 3, 4, 5 minutes before I actually went down into some depth. I was trying to see, and you know, I couldn't see nothing. And things got quiet. I had this really weird feeling in my whole body and kind of a ringing to my ears. And it was like right at that time, I caught a black image like right next to me. And as fast as I seen that, it made a quick move, and I was caught in a turbulence.
It's either Corey or Pepin. Something big.
I was in the middle of a huge vortex of water from the swish or something of that thing leaving.
Luckily, Corey caught sight of daylight and fought his way up. Video cameras on the boat caught his first reactions.
I see it. It's big. It's gotta be it. Get me out of this water. It's big. I bumped into it. Ah.
Corey was just literally begging the guys to pull him up out of the water.
You get that? You get that on camera?
We went out there with open minds and a sense of adventure, and we actually had some unexplained things happen to us.
As far as going back into the water of the Mississippi to do any more exploration, it's nothing that I would ever want to do again. I was absolutely helpless in that water. Had that creature attacked me in any kind of way.
"1,200 miles south from Lake Pepin, the southern Louisiana swamps are also filled with aquatic beasts. Aggressive gators and poisonous snakes, just two of the more familiar swamp predators living among the mangrove and cypress trees. Yet locals maintain the bayou is filled with supernatural beasts as well.
The swamps are definitely a place where mysterious beings could hide out.
When you go into the swamp, there's a feeling around you. You feel like eyes upon you. The creatures see you. And when people misuse the swamp, they see things that scares them.
One swamp encounter is particularly feared, crossing paths with a wolfman creature that's been cursed.
It's said that if you stare into those eyes, you take on that curse yourself. The victim of a half-life, half wolf, half man, a beast that is feared by everybody.
In towns and communities along the swamps of Louisiana, Generations are raised on tales of a shape-shifting canine critter.
It goes back to French settlers who immigrated to this area. With them came stories of a werewolf.
Cajun Werewolf is essentially a person. It's not a wolf. It's a person who's been cursed. The body of a man or a person, and has the head of a beast, whether it be a wolf or a dog.
Unlike Louisiana's legendary Rougarou, a flesh and blood beast, the Cajun werewolf is an individual enduring the wicked punishment of the swamps.
Curses typically take the form of a punishment for something that someone had wronged in the swamp. These curses are very real.
Much about this creature is a mystery, yet many a local swears they've had a run-in with a beast.
I can remember it to this day. I was 16 years old. As I was paddling through the swamp, I had one of those feelings where you feel like you're being watched. It just creeps you out. As I was paddling, I kept turning around looking behind me. I was paddling closer and closer and closer to home. And I looked off to my right, maybe about 50 to 60 yards away. I saw a creature or a man. I don't know what it was. This creature was standing on its hind legs. It creeped me out. You have to figure 250 square mile wetland. If a man goes out there and doesn't want to be found, he wouldn't be found. So if there's a creature out there, it would be real easy for him to evade being caught all this time.
Another man who came face to face with the Cajun werewolf believes the monster came forth as a warning issued by the swamp.
That night that I was in that swamp, I wasn't supposed to be there. I was in shock. My heart just stopped beating, and then I just froze.
Chauvin, Louisiana is a small town of 3,000 souls, surrounded by wild swamp.
It's not a very big town, it's pretty small. The people that live here are pretty resilient. Storms beat us up a lot, but we still tend to come back, help out each other whenever we need hands.
Residents maintain a long-standing regard for the mysteries of the bayou. Disrespect carries risks.
If you go out and enjoy the swamp and don't try to take away from the swamps, you're gonna have a pleasant experience. But if you go out and try to take the swamp for your own personal gain, the swamp's gonna fight back.
Beldrin Forest has always felt especially tuned into the supernatural.
I am one of 13. I am the last, so I'm number 13. My daddy was born 1913. My mama, she passed away on March 13th.
And at age 13, Beldrin had an encounter that confirmed everything he'd heard about the Cajun werewolf.
There's 2 days out of the year, All Souls and All Saints Day, that the spirits, my mama told me, can walk the earth. And I was young and I just blew that off.
On November 1st, 1976, despite his mother's warnings never to hunt on All Saints Day, Beldrin set out into the swamp with his shotgun.
I blew it off as just folklore. I said, well, there's no monsters in the swamp. My mama just don't want me going in the swamp. It was a fall day. You get that feeling when the cold front starts to blow. You get that urge to go hunting. You got an extra energy in you. You're feeling good that like nothing could go wrong. This is a good day for me. But this day, my dog seemed like she just didn't want to be there anymore. She wouldn't go. The woods are full of squirrels, full of rabbits, coons. There's all kind of animals, but we didn't see nothing to shoot. I probably walked 5-6 miles that day looking for something. Well, I told my dog that it's time to go back home. We ain't gonna get nothing today. And then on the way back, I seen a rabbit. So I lifted up my gun to shoot it. Rabbit just seemed to freeze, like it was just waiting for me to shoot it. This is gonna be easy. So as I was pulling the aim, the grass on the side of the trail just started moving. And when I looked up, this creature came out of the grass. It had a dog shape, a dog build, but it was in human form. It felt like my heart had just stopped. And I was in like a freeze frame. The face was that of a dog. And it gave that growl. My heart was pounding so hard. And I took off running. I was panicked. I could feel this thing right behind me. All I could think of is this thing is gonna catch me. I could feel his breath on my neck. And I gotta run. And I'm running as fast as I could. I could feel the branches hitting me in the face. There's an 8-foot ditch. I cleared the ditch with one jump. Until finally, when I broke out of the tree line and I was in the clearing, the heat off of my back had just went away. That night that I was in that swamp, I wasn't supposed to be there. My mama had told me not to take a life on All Souls or All Saints Day. I'm not supposed to go hunting.
Beldren trespassed, broke a sacred rule, and deep within the wilderness, a werewolf was summoned. Luckily, Beldren Forest survived the encounter.
I didn't touch that gun for 9 months. I was only like 13 years old. And today, I still got goosebumps.
Something lives in the swamps of Louisiana, and it is a Cajun werewolf.
If you venture out, if you have a dark side, it can feel you. It knows what's inside of you, what's in your heart. You might not see it all the time, but it follows you, and it'll be there. And if you do something wrong, it'll be after you.